Okay, so I'm here to talk about how to get the final cut of your skateboard here. Um, so at this point, you should have both of the nose and the tail sketch done for the work plane, and the extrusion that we're going to do is not in this sketch. We're actually going to do it, or not in this part file. It's going to be in a different part file that's derived from this one. And we need to do that because we're going to use this part file, the uncut skateboard part file, for something else in a little bit, which is the assembly file. So we'll be using that in our assembly file, so we can't modify it. We don't want to modify it here. So at this point, the last video, I only showed you how to do half of the final cut board. It's your responsibility to figure out how to do this one, the nose, based on what you learned on this one. So you've got to create your own variables. So this was the tail shape, length, final, and radius, tail radius, and you've got to do those variables for the nose and create that sketch on the other side on your own. Okay, so here's how we're going to do the final cut though. And what you'll do is you'll create a new part studio in there. Okay, and here's my new part studio. And we're going to rename that. And we're going to call it the final board. Okay. And in this one, we're going, excuse me, sorry about that. In this one, we're going to bring in not the positive mold, let's see, uncut skateboard. Okay, so we're going to bring in our uncut skateboard. All right, and that might seem a little strange, but the reason we're bringing it in here is because again, we don't want to modify the uncut skateboard. We want to modify the final board. And so now we have our sketch here that's ready for our final board. And the reason that we didn't want to make the sketch in this one is because we wanted to maintain all of our variables in the original design, and you can't. At least I haven't figured out a way to create those variables that are linked to the other one and kind of copy those variables. It would create all new variables. So to keep it consistent and all the variables in one spot, you edit it in your uncut skateboard, and it will update your final skateboard here. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you are going to just do an extrusion. So it's pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy here. And so we're going to click on this guy, we're going to click on that guy, and we're going to say we want it to intersect, and we're going to say through all. Okay, and that should work. Didn't work. Let's try it one more time here. All right, change the direction, and where's it? Intersect. There it is. All right. So now it's intersecting, and it's essentially cutting off all of the excess of your material. All right. So now we can kind of come in and do some final work on some of those shapes in there, and you could put some fillets on there if you wanted to round those out a little bit more. I'm not going to require that at this point because you can do that in sanding in your final prep work to remove those hard edges there. So at this point, your final cut board is ready to go, and that extrusion's all done. So, but again, the hard part on this one is that you're going to have to figure out how to get, apply what you learned on this half of the board to the other half of the board in the other sketch, and then you should be good to go. Okay?